What up? Oh, Mr. Manley Construction. How you doing? What's happening, my man? Long time no chat. Oh, constructing. So, for those who are wondering, I'm getting ready to do the new, I'm not going to say improved, version of Let's Talk About It, which will only include myself for now. And so right now, I'm making a peanut butter sandwich in preparation. It's actually going to be a peanut butter, raw maple almond butter. In case you didn't, opted for Walmart brand peanut butter and expensive maple almond butter. And to be honest, I prefer the cheap Walmart peanut butter. But the raw maple butter is quite delicious. What's up, Marshmallow? How are you? How are you? I will be eating this live on the podcast because, I'm hungry. If you also didn't notice, I am using a fork to spread raw maple almond butter and peanut butter on my sandwich. If I was home, I would have probably added some, brought to my attention, non-organic hemp seeds to it. That's the secret touch. It's the honey. What's up, Spliff? How are you, my dude? Bam. Sorry, just trying to get myself prepped up here before I start talking nonstop. Today's drinks of choice, double up on the CBD water. Things I need. My cool vape cart, which is a C-cell that I had gotten from Cannibal a little minute ago. We got a rig. We got some shit to roll up on. Shit to roll up. What's up, Marshmallow? How are you? And some shit to dab. All right, let's do this. Are you ready to kick this monkey? Get my cool microphone in my own face. All right. Welcome, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages and podcasters. Welcome to Let's Talk About It. I'm your host, Lord Bongtimore, a.k.a. the Sultan of Sativa, a.k.a. Ned Sparks. That's a new one I'm trying out, Ned Sparks. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but we're going to make it flow. We're going to make it work. A little Game of Thrones action. So, the Let's Talk About It podcast would not be possible without things to toke on, which right now is going to be some Bubba Fett, which is a pre-98 Bubba Kush crossed with Starfighter. It is a heavy indica, testing at over 30% THC. Total cannabinoids, I believe, are at 33%. This is quite delightful. Honestly, I don't think it is the most impressive with the honey bourbon backwood that it's about to go into. But that's neither here nor there, I suppose. I've been trying to decide whether or not I'd like to stop smoking these because I just saw that the honey bourbon backwoods failed a pesticide test. For those who have been following lately on our Instagram, you would probably have seen the fact that there has been a lot of prioritizing of the use of clean materials going in to any sort of medicinal use facility. What's up, Peace, Love, and Tree? How are you? We are live and in a dive. So, anyway, as I was saying, one of our big focuses lately has been making sure that people are aware when there is or is not pesticides being used on meds. And now, while some areas may be recreational, we are still looking at things from a medicinal standpoint because not everyone's out here just trying to get high. What's up, Unfunny Jester? How are you? For those who don't know, here in the Maryland area, the cannabis community, and I use that term loosely, seems to be a little bit tight-knit and seems to be prioritizing exclusivity rather than being inclusive, which can be difficult because while wanting to be informative, there's a lot of misinformation in being inclusive, especially with people who already are probably feeling a little out of place, considering there are many new people to the cannabis community and that are involved in the culture that is the cannabis community. I was talking about it earlier that people are starting to remove their own stigma from within their mind, and which is great. But sometimes there is still an aspect of, I don't know how to be doing this. I don't know what I should be looking for. I know indica sativa, but beyond that, I don't understand a terpene. I don't understand this or that. So for me, it is important to continue to search for information to let us know what's going on. I was recently booted from a Facebook group about Maryland medical cannabis for posting information about a Maryland cannabis company and the fact that some of their strain-specific carts were put on an administrative hold. And now, the original testing for these cartridges was done back in June when the first batch of the company Forward Grow had come out. Right, their batch, they had a bunch of clementine, 24 karat, and then apparently a shit ton of their garbage material was being used all throughout the state to make cartridges. There's even rumors of one brand using some of their flour and rebranding it. I'm not going to get into that because I have not verified that for myself, so I will not put it out there. But the point being is that many companies were impacted by the use of this terrible quality material. Now, I know what you're saying. Hey, what's up, Brooksy? How are you? Good to see you. I know what you're saying. Lord, by garbage material, what are you saying? Was it some mids? Yes. Are you asking me, was it literal trash? Did they go outside of a McDonald's and pull bags out of the dumpster? Well, no, they did not do that, but they might as well have. And the problem is that there was, if you look it up, it's pretty much public record. There's multiple sources and multiple people that still have it up. Plenty of pictures of inside that grow where there is all sorts of standing water, plants looking mad sad, people spraying plants with pesticides the day before harvest, spraying them down after harvest. Yes, powdery mildew. Apparently from the start, in a seed-to-sale state, they had nothing but clones coming in. Don't know where the mothers were. You would think there's a more than sufficient amount of room at this large facility, but that is neither here nor there. They also had mad spider mites. There's pictures of webs all over. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with cultivation, for there to be mad spider mite webs, you have to pretty much not be paying attention at all to your plants. You have to pretty much saying, hey babies, I don't love you. I'm going to throw you in the dumpster. Which, is unfortunate because those plants need some love. Now, apparently, for those who do not know, early on in the Maryland medical cannabis realm, companies were only allowed to build out certain amounts of space, right? It was, hey, this is our total allotted amount of space, but just while there is the program is growing, we're going to have the phases being rolled out, in different groups. So you can have X amount of space being available to cultivate after X amount of time and amount sold. It becomes, okay, cool. There's more support, more things are opening up. Let's continue to roll out. And so in these early phases, because Maryland has only had dispensaries open for a year, there were shortages. And so many extraction companies, cart makers, were using this tainted material. And while some say you're eliminating all impurities, and they did pass original testing. Now, if you followed the Forward Grow case at all, the reason they passed the testing is because, the Maryland testing was not testing for certain things. They were only testing for approved pesticides and making sure that they were under the appropriate limits. Any pesticides not on the list were not getting tested for. So then when it came out that many people, what's up, Hot Pixies, how are you? Many people did not, it was not known, administrative holds were put out, which there were plenty of people who had already bought up a lot of the meds. And while, yes, there were some that were taken fairly recently, no dispensary in Maryland still has any of that product on the shelf. So I need to be clear about that so as to not cause any sort of confusion or fear, right? My issue is that with this specific brand, putting out strain-specific cartridges, I was just trying to understand the science of how you can be using other people's material, which I found out was the Forward Grow Clementine strain. That was what was originally used for the material. And then nobody ever hears about it, right? So fast forward to the other day when I was blocked. I was then told by the admin who did the blocking, who was also a bud tender at a Maryland dispensary, that I was causing some fear-mongering and division amongst patients. Let it be known that I am never one to cause fear, right? And while, yes, I get people are afraid when they think their meds are tainted. When one of the pesticides being used, going by the name of Eagle 20, when heated, turns into hydrogen cyanide, which was a biological weapon used during World War II by the Nazis. So the same chemical makeup at 2,000 parts per million could kill a human. So I don't think it's unreasonable to just want to make sure that people are informed, because yes, there are plenty of people that do not give one flying fuck about what is in their carts or in their meds, period. And that's fine. But to be coming out of a state facility, that is not fine. I am not okay with that. And I have a big problem with people in the industry that are fearful that it's going to cause division, right? When there are plenty of other people in the industry who are not fearful of that because they practice ethics within the cannabis realm. And while cannabis, yes, is a business, it is a medical business, which we know cannot always be it's not always the most ethical. Cannabis does not have to be the same way as all other medical businesses. Please, excuse me. I don't know. Oh, I do have a lighter. That was about to be real sad if I had no lighter. Blunt, Bubba Fett, honey bourbon. That is a clean burn. Shatter and Wax 2, great question, Parshmallow. You never, a finished product is only going to be as good as its starting material. Like, there's a possibility, a lot of the time when you have shatter that just will not get stable, a lot of the time it's because the grower at some point had sprayed neem oil on it, which during the extraction point, if there was any neem oil used during any part of the growth process, you will come out with a product where it will never ever be able to get that glassy, stable effect. Even not if it's glass, it doesn't have to be glassy, but it still will not be stable. It'll be a goopy kind of mess. You know, I mean, I think about myself, right? I smoked a lot of shit. Excuse me. That was probably disgusting. But nowadays, we don't have to do that. Right? If I had a choice, back when I was smoking Kind Bud and some Mexican dirt weed, you know, I would have loved to have had pesticide testing. I don't know what my finances would have said about being able to actually do anything about it, but it would have been nice to know. And that's the thing, is that people that are informed can make their own decision, right? When I'm told by members of the industry that they are taking things post down and blocking patients and / caregivers due to spreading information, well, that's a problem. To me, that feels reminiscent of George Orwell's 1984, right? At what point does the transparency, you know, become no longer necessary, right? When does it become, hey, take what we're giving you and you'll like it, right? I don't want to see that. Well, the dispensaries, I mean, they don't give a shit. The more legal it is, the better it's going to be for them. I mean, they're going to have the opportunity to make more capital. And then again, supply and demand comes into play. Recreational cannabis can then become much more viewed upon as in the same categories as alcohol, which we all know who have been involved in utilizing the plant's medicinal benefits know that it is far beyond just the psychoactive THC effects. And so the rec market then brings big players like, you know, the fucking cigarette companies, you know, already pharmaceutical companies and companies that are closely tied to pesticides are trying to get more and more buy up the smaller companies. You know, I mean, it's just, they're getting ready. I mean, it's coming. We're on the brink. Now is the time to actually use your voice while you have it. Because who knows what the future brings, especially when you come to federal legalization. Now, granted, we run into an opportunity then where hopefully home cultivation will be for everybody. And everybody will have their opportunity to grow their own. You don't have to worry about what is or is not being put in products. Right. Fall in line and shut up. So, on the topic of growing, I've been pumped. Owning a grow store, running a few plants. People now love to fucking slide me some genetics. I'm trying to make some decisions on what I want to run. My one homie, Agent Orange, shout out, gave me a couple of Sunset Sherberts. I'm not sure who the genetic line is from. Some Lemon Kush, which I believe he said is DNA. Don't quote me. There's another name in our community that would know because I think they came from him. Some Family Tree Origins, the Royale with cheese, which is a diesel crossed with cheese, crossed with some other shit. I've also got a couple of DC-themed strains. We have the Zoloft, which I don't know if that's really a DC thing. Northern Lights crossed with super glue. The Mumbo on Everything, which is Girl Scout cookies crossed with black cherry gelato crossed with super glue. And then last, and certainly not least, one of my favorites, Mo Thin Mints crossed with super glue. So be on the lookout for me to be popping some seeds. Probably going to be some of these strains. I also have some Lemon OG. I have a bunch of other fucking random seeds too that I'm thinking about popping. It's just a matter of trying to figure out what it is we like. Right now, I'm running a couple of strains. One is Narnia, which is Jack Herrera, the classic sativa of all sativas, crossed with Trainwreck, another OG strain. We're running Cherry Slimeade, which we may change the name. I don't know. The Cherry Slimeade is cross Cherry Mountain Goat, which is cherry pie, and Golden Goat, crossed with Slimer. I'm a sucker for some Golden Goat, and I definitely like Slimer. It's cool. These plants have been showing a lot of some signs of some good purple, and looking up some pictures of them flowering, there are a lot of purple phenos, which I'm definitely excited about. Which one, that man? The Mo, the Mumbo on Everything. And we're also running the Rose, which is a local DC grower strain. Excuse me. Shout out my man Capital Skunk for the seeds. He gave them to us at a random District Dabbers event before I stopped going to that dude's events. But yeah, the Rose is the one crossed with Dieselrella, which I'm assuming is Sour Diesel and Cindy 99, maybe. Crossed with Platinum Girl Scout cookies, and crossed with some Bubba lineage. I'll tell you what, she has a very funky smell coming off of her. Rosie and Rosie J are probably two of the biggest plants we have running right now. I mean, Rosie really has just been shooting up from the minute we put her under 18.6. For anyone that was interested, this Bubba Fett, I mean, the Bubba just really blasts through everything else. I'm already feeling the dope body high and euphoric feelings. Yeah, the Narnia. I randomly found that seed in the last bag I had of it. I didn't find one seed throughout that whole patch where I had a bunch of the Narnia, and until the very last little bag, and I said, we got to pop it. And she really struggled from the beginning. She was like a little, she was having a hard time really getting those fucking leaves to start sprouting out, and we doped her up with some Key to Life nutrients. And she really just, she got this great bright green color, and she just started shooting up, and now has surpassed a few other plants in height. So yeah, those are the three we got going right now. They're all about 6 to 7 weeks or so in veg. We're getting ready to flip a couple of them into flower, trying to decide if we want to mother one of them. Keep it going from there. Like I said, I'm going to put up a poll, and you can let me know what seeds you'd like to see me pop. I have a feeling the Sunset Sherbet is going to be a fan favorite. Everybody loves the fucking Sunset Sherbet right now. What's not to love? You got the Cookie Fam growing it. It's just a super hyped up part of the family of strains of gelatos and sherbets and cookies and cakes and pies, and which is all good. No hate over here. No hate over here. There's been a lot of runts floating around the city. If you haven't had any, I can recommend who to get some from, and it is quite a delightful smoke if you're willing to pay the price tag. I'm not typically that dude, so I don't smoke a lot of runts, but they are delicious when I do. When I make the splurge, it's a good time. Excuse me. So, things coming up. Hopefully working on a couple things as far as getting the podcast rolling with a couple of different guests. Definitely have my man Panda from District Extracts in the works coming up. My man Caddy Keith, the local Frosty's Fresh, king of the Frosty Fresh Army. That guy is non-stop dabbing on diamonds. That's a big part of the reason why I haven't gone and seen my man Caddy Keith, is because I'm scared to sesh with him. That's a dude you got to prep. You got to be ready, right? Because Caddy Keith do not play. He's got some Trilly Wonka that I know he's dying to feed me. Look, that thumper looks like a great freaking rig. Yes, that man Z. There are definitely fake runs in DC, but there's also some legit ones. The legit ones I know of are testing at over 30% THC, which is fucking dope. Now, we know that it's not just about the THC. It's about the terpene profile and everything going along with it. So, don't just base it solely on that. But the flavor. I'm actually excited. We've been using a product called Silver Bullet. It is a sulfur uptake enhancer or something, and it helps really bring out the terpenes in the plant. So I'm excited to see how that's impacting. And I know actually there's a Maryland grow or two that is also using the same product. They like to keep that shit hush-hush, but, sorry. Always going to plug my people at Key to Life. My man Tate. That's like kind of an inspirational story, too. That dude was making nutrients out of his garage. Within 5 years, now is a multi-million-dollar facility. He was just telling us about how he bought essentially a $200,000 grinder to mix up microbes and fungi. It's extreme. I'm not going to bore you with the details, also because I'm not intelligent enough to eloquently spread them out. Excuse me. Yes, hemp to go, CBD water, dope. Quite refreshing. So yes, DC, we got some cool events getting ready to happen, including a Stoner Twister tournament. I just feel like this has good time written all over it. Potentially Super Smash Brothers tournament, Smash Brothers Sunday, maybe. We will see. As well as a Baltimore location for med patients only at the moment. My apologies to any of the Maryland fam who is not a med patient. There's really nothing I can do to accommodate at the moment. Sorry. But we will have a couple of free events for non-med patients to be able to maybe get some education and definitely be able to make an informed decision on whether or not they'd like to be a part of the medical community. And while unfortunately there are some people who differ in opinion from me, that is not going to stop me from doing what I do in the way that I do it, because the bigger, more important thing is the patients. And no matter what, if an organization is not doing the right thing, well, that's on them. That's not on me, right? And if you don't like your business being put out there, don't do it, because, there are, like as I said in the beginning of the podcast, there are plenty of ethical companies, especially in Maryland cannabis. The one that I can vouch for at the moment is Colta, right? From quality of product, to knowledgeable, credible bud tenders, to people that work there that genuinely just care about the people walking through the door and seem to be willing to go above and beyond for their consumers consistently, is Golta. There's definitely some other dispensaries that are not, possessing all 3 licenses that do a great job, and we will talk about them on later episodes. But the reminder is, just be honest, because people make their own decisions anyway. There are going to be people that don't give a shit, and that's fine. But to block information, that is never okay, right? Because while some may feel as though my delivery is not conducive to the way that they like, I don't give a fuck, right? Because what they're doing is not conducive to what I like. And I didn't get not one private message in support of anybody that's trying to stop information. Right? If people are too fucking dumb to read what's being said or listen, well, that's not on me, right? Because there are plenty that did read what I said. There are plenty who did give me a follow, right? There are plenty who did say, hey, keep your foot on the fucking neck. And so I will, right? Because that is a part of the Lord Bongtimore way. We work and live with our core values, right? It has to be, that's the only way. That's the only way. So look, I'm going to sign off for the evening. It is getting late. I'm going to end with a dab. Everybody, I'm on the wave. I'm on the fucking solventless wave. I cannot tell you how stoked I am on some of the solventless product I've been able to try. Not much left in there. Unfortunately, you cannot smell the terps through the mic or the computer or the gram. But we are going to be dabbing on the last of some Tropicana cookies, which if you have not seen has recently hit my top 5 favorite strains. And this hash rosin has stood right up to any of the Tropicana cookies flour I've had, which actually recently I had some out in Denver that was so purple it was almost black. And it had some of those good Orioles orange hair sticking out of it. It was quite delightful. I'm already high from that Bubba Fett that got parked. I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if I was already high or if it's probably actually, this is my second CBD water. That shit just adds a whole nother effect, honestly. So clean. Signing out. Lord Bongtimore. Thank you for joining. Until next time.